Multiple storms impacting multiple places across the Western Pacific today. Of course, Henner, which just tracked over northern Luzon and bringing some heavy rainfall. I've seen reports of the Cagayan River starting to rise just a bit there. It is now just off here towards the west and really expected to head out towards Vietnam. We still have Pulasan, now named Helen, according to Pagasa. That's just because it just clipped the northeast portion of the Philippine area of responsibility. No change to your forecast if you are in the Philippines, just letting you know it is moving off here towards the north and west and likely going to graze Okinawa. And all the while we continue to see this monsoonal flow come in, and we're just bringing this continued heavy rainfall. So where is Henner? Let's talk about this first. Where is it now? Moving off towards the west, expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility here today. As it scoots along, it's going to be going towards central Vietnam or southern Hainan. That's where you're likely going to see some of the worst of the weather from this storm, which I know into Vietnam, we've already had serious flooding out there, and you do not need any more rain. But unfortunately, this monsoonal gyre type setup continues. The good news, I do see maybe a change in the pattern in the extended forecast, and I'll get to that in just a second. First, let's take a look at the low-level center here with Henner as it pulls away. Still not named by JMA as well, by the way. As this pulls away, you're going to see more of our little southwest monsoon, the Habagat, which currently has been bringing flooding rains across Palawan over towards parts of Mindoro, western Visayas. This is all going to lift towards the north. All the while, Pulasan, Helen, is going to pull in this monsoonal flow. So the further west we go here with this storm, the further north Helen goes, the more these winds are going to change southwest and south for the west coast of the Philippines. What does that mean, Robert? Means Visayas finally going to get a break, but parts of Region 1, Pangasinan, Baguio are all going to see the increase in the rainfall Wednesday over towards Thursday. All the while, we have our storm coming on shore here into central Vietnam. Big issue there. The mountains, especially just a bit inland, are going to pile up that precipitation, and I do believe there is going to be a few spots here 200 to 300 millimeters plus of total precip in central Vietnam. The good news, if there is good news with this situation, it is taking place a bit further south from where we saw the devastating floods with Yagi. Not completely out of there, but it is going to be in a semi-drier area, so it's not going to compound on top of each other quite as much. Anyways, back to the forecast here in the Philippines, since I know that's where a lot of you guys are watching from. I try to touch in on every basis, and also I know people like to see what's happening just outside of their local area. If we're still looking on Wednesday, back towards the west in Palawan, you're still got scattered showers there for you. It is starting to dry out in southern Visayas, but then once we go over towards middle, rain's going to really start to uptick there over towards Subic. Baguio, as I mentioned, just 23 degrees for your high, and you still could be looking at enough some afternoon showers and thunderstorms across the Cagayan Valley into Region 2 there. So you got overall this flow continues to kind of shift and pull off towards north. And this is all attached to this monsoonal gyre. Look at this over towards Yap and Palau. Guam has been seeing continued rains. At least it's going to start to back off there for you as Pulasan, Helen, starts to pull towards the northwest. Now, where exactly is that storm going? Well, here's the question. I'm pushing it just south of Okinawa by Wednesday afternoon into the evening. A very lopsided storm. I mean, if we go back to the satellite picture, you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. Yeah, let's pull it up right there. So there's actually the low-level center in this image is quite exposed. We'll zoom right in on it. And let's try to get this to load up. Here we go. And basically, there's their center of circulation right here. The right side of the storm has all that inflow, part of this monsoonal gyre, and there's your low-level center. It's exposed. Quite often we see this, and if it doesn't wrap around, the left side of the storm's not going to be all too bad. And that's important when looking at the forecast track, because if the storm wavers even just a bit further towards the north, that's going to put Okinawa just in kind of a dry but breezy day like we saw with our last storm system that pushed on through there. Now, if it drifts a little further south and you get that full onslaught of the banding that's coming through there, you very well could see some tropical storm strength winds, which current forecast kind of does indicate more so of that happening. Tropical storm strength winds with persistent passing rain bands. Not a full-on typhoon. You're not looking at death and destruction out here. As long as you stay inside and just be smart, don't head out to the ocean, you should be just fine. Now, here's a look at the extended forecast. Aside from the tropical systems, of course, we have our storm pushing back there towards the north. We have the leftovers of Ener pushing out towards Vietnam. And what we're going to start to see is overall the monsoonal flow kind of shift up here. Look at this. And then we get almost a northeast monsoonal flow that's going to start to set up just a bit. I'll talk more on that in a second. Let's take a closer look at Okinawa one more time here. I forgot I had this graphic in here, but I really did want to show and drill down on Okinawa about how different the right side of the storm to the left side of the storm is, and just watching that go on through. And by the way, this could very well bring some tropical storm strength conditions to Shanghai again after it passes over the southern Japanese islands. So kind of a 1-2 punch here. It's the same weather pattern, just pulling in the same type of setup after it. So yeah, main problems though. If you're talking about heavy rains, I would say Vietnam over towards the Philippines. Strong winds, the west coast of the Philippines, but also into Okinawa. If that right front quadrant really sets up there for you. Flooding out there towards parts of Baguio, higher elevations. We're going to be looking at some precip. Storm surge, not really worried, but even tornadoes in all these cases are possible as storms start to come on shore. All right, so with all that said, here's one other thing. We're gonna do a little model analysis together since you've been sitting here patiently waiting. This is the GFS, and we're looking at the 500 millibar kind of upper level pattern here, cyclonic vorticity showing upward vertical motion. That's those areas in darker red. And of course, we got our storm kind of kicks off here, and then we might even see another one on its heel. That's what this upper level low is kind of indicating right there. But all of this is revolving on the south side of this high pressure ridge. But look at this high pressure ridge as we look ahead. It almost back builds over towards Okinawa into Taiwan, and it really could be suppressing some long-range cyclonic activity. Of course, there's still a little bit of energy out here in the West Philippine Sea, and a very long range may be something, but I think we could get into a general drier pattern. I mean, this is looking at the GFS for next Tuesday. High pressure ridge I mentioned settles further towards the south, over towards Guam, and just generally we're not seeing this monsoonal gyre type setup at the very least. Still got some scattered showers to look at, still got things like that, but the pattern that has just been plaguing us with these just persistent heavy rains and monsoonal enhanced Habagats and all that may very well be changing. I don't think it's the Amihan season just yet, but it's the taste of the transition season, which very well could be changing things up here just a bit. So, I mean, good. It's been very, very wet here recently, and we need a break. Anyways, if you have any questions, though, please let me know. Try my best to keep you posted on all of these updates about what is going on out here. If you like these updates, please hit that like and subscribe button, or you can check us out on Patreon. If you're new here and you're like, who is this guy? Check out my Who Is This Guy video on the intro of this channel. It does kind of break down what I do and why I do it here today. And if you do want to check out our Patreon, it helps pay for everything here. So I truly, truly appreciate it. And yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for everything. And I hope that these forecasts over the last couple weeks with all these storms has helped out at least a few of you. Stay safe out there. Have a good day. Do you hate doing your taxes? Do you struggle figuring out what the law is and money management overseas?
I wish there was an easier way.
Well, FrontRunnerFinancial.com is your choice if this falls into your category. They're an international based group of American accountants. They're based in Manila, and they're qualified to give you the best information where you are for those international finances. I wish I had these guys when I lived in Tokyo. Each year it was a struggle where I needed to put money, what I needed to do. FrontRunnerFinancial.com. Be sure to check them out and let them know we sent them your way.